I tried beating Terraria using the Bell class. This is a brand new mage inspired class that uses musical bells from start to finish. So, will I be able to beat the moonlord? Well, let's find out. I started off by spawning into the beautiful world of Bell Terraria. I opened up a starter bag and consumed all of the various different life crystals, equipped all of the accessories, and threw away all my weapons. I chopped down a couple of trees, made myself a workbench, and crafted myself the very first bell, which was the wooden bell. Dealing a whopping 9 magic damage, this was our go-to starter weapon. Just listen to how absolutely beautiful this bell is. Anyways, after testing out our phenomenal musical instrument, I went on to mine. And mine I did. I got myself a bunch of different ores. I was digging down, found myself a bunch of chests while making myself the elevator. Using a spelunker potion, I got myself a bunch of life crystals as well. And once I came back to the surface, I crafted myself the NPC prison builder, made myself the rusted bell, which was a brand new bell made from 10 wood and 2 iron ore. And it dealt far more damage than our wooden bell, so it just made so much more sense to use it. Check out how this one sounds. Absolutely phenomenal. I crafted myself the prison builder, consumed all of my life crystals, and then built a bunch of NPC prisons. Houses. I made myself a bunch of dig faster accessories and then went on to mine and gather as many life crystals as I could, while also continuing my elevator. I then stumbled upon a desert pyramid which I looted for a sandstorm in a bottle and a bunch of gold. And then I continued over to the jungle biome, and then I proceeded to come back to spawn as there was nothing good that I could find in the jungle. I chopped down a couple more trees, made myself an arena for the Eye of Cthulhu and all the various different bosses later on, and then I fought the King Slime. We were using our rusted bell to try and defeat the King Slime until I ran out of mana, and then I realized that I should probably had some mana potions, so I quickly ran over to the merchant and bought myself tons of lesser mana potions. This is where I proceeded to spam the King Slime, and well, we managed to take him out quite easily. We had to use like a half strategy of like healing up using mana stars dropped from the slime so we wouldn't deal no damage from the mana sickness that we got, so that was quite a bummer, but hey, like it took us forever to take him out, but we did do it, and I can't be complaining too much. I then went back into the caverns to mine for gold, got myself more life crystals, and by the time that I came back to spawn, I had full HP after only playing the game for like 30 minutes. So I say that's pretty good. Anyways, right after this, I went over to the corruption biome, and upon finding a demon altar, I crafted the infinite summon for the Eye of Cthulhu, just so it's more practical and I don't have to waste a bunch of summons. And I started fighting the Eye of Cthulhu with the rusted bell. Same idea, using the little Eye of Cthulhu mini servants. I had to recharge my mana so I wouldn't get overwhelmed with mana sickness, and I managed to take out the Eye of Cthulhu in quite a short manner. As soon as I did this, I went over to blow up some of the orbs for the Eater of Worlds. I made an arena above the surface of the corruption biome for the Eater of Worlds, and then I summoned in the Longwormy Boy. This took me an absolute, just like crazy amount of time to do. I think I was fighting the Eater of Worlds for like 10 minutes straight just because we were dealing such little damage, and throughout fighting the Eater of Worlds, we actually managed to spawn in a goblin invasion as well, which was just a pain because then goblins started attacking me and I had to like move further to the right, which just it wasn't practical at all, but hey, we had to do what we had to do. Couldn't really get out of it, and now we are stuck in it for the long run. At some point, the goblins stopped attacking, and after spending just countless minutes on the Eater of Worlds, we managed to take him out. And as soon as I did that, I prepared myself to craft a Demonite Bell. So I conjured up a heavy workbench, made myself the bell shell, which was like a template for all the bells that we craft, and I made myself the demonic bell. All it cost us was 16 demonite bars, 6 scales, and the bell shell. I crafted that and then pulverized every single enemy of the goblin army. It was absolutely bad. This was quite a good bell, and it had a pretty neat sound to it as well. I then proceeded to check all the various different sky islands to see if I can get myself a pair of wings, and once it was nighttime, I built an arena at Skeletron's dungeon and summoned in Skeletron himself. I spammed him with the demonic bell, we took out both of his arms, and with the ringing music in my ears, we managed to take out Skeletron within the actual temple itself, which was kind of strange. I've never actually like fought him here, and the reason I did this is because the bell would bounce off, like all the sounds would bounce off just like, you know, like real sounds in real life. So, you know, it's pretty cool. accurate, most scientific weapon in Terraria. But yeah, we took out Skeletron, then I went to pick up a bunch of water candles within the dungeon. Got myself a bunch of keys as well, opened up some chests, found nothing good, frankly, and by the time I got back, I crafted myself the Nightmare Pickaxe, and I also crafted myself the Skell-O Bell, which was a brand new bell, crafted from 100 cobweb, a bell shell, and 75 bones. This was very similar to our previous bell, except it was a little bit slower, and it just sounded a little bit different. Anyways, as soon as I had my Nightmare Pickaxe, I rushed down to the underworld with a mining potion and obsidian skin potion to get as much hellstone as I could. I also got myself some obsidian, got myself a hellforge, and once I came back to spawn, I crafted myself a bunch of hellstone bars and a brand new bell called the Hell Bell, made out of a bell shell, 50 obsidian, and 15 hellstone bars. This was very slow. It dealt much more damage than all the previous bells, but it just wasn't really like practical to use, as the fire rate was just crazy stupidly slow. I went over to the jungle, picked up a meteor, and then went down further into the jungle to get myself a bunch of stingers and jungle spores so we can craft the very final bell before being able to craft like the Night's Edge version of the bell. Once I had forged myself the grassy bell, I went over to a demon altar that was at spawn and crafted myself the Knight's Bell out of the 4 various different bells. This kind of shot like the Demonite Bell, but it dealt 45 damage, so it was pretty good. I went to go reforge it. Then I went down to the underworld, made myself a massive arena for the Wall of Flesh, used the battle cry to 10x my spawn rates and find myself a guide voodoo demon. I got myself the doll, chucked it into the lava, and started spamming the Wall of Flesh. I first took out the hungries because like the bells weren't piercing. And once that was done, I came as close as I could to the Wall of Flesh and then tried to get various different eyes in one shot. And after a long and treacherous boss fight, we took out the Wall of Flesh and we are now officially in hard mode, meaning we can now get onto the real serious big boy Terraria stuff and all the fun bosses. I made an altar exterminator, which was from a quality of life mod, and I blessed the world with cobalt, orichalcum, and titanium. All this does is essentially just destroys all of the altars at once, so you don't have to go mine one like bit by bit. It just makes the whole process much less annoying. But you also get attacked by all of the wraiths at once, so you know it doesn't make it any better. This is where I started going through the pickaxe progression, but then I forgot that I sold all of my hellstone and I do not have a hellstone pickaxe. So using my Nightmare Pickaxe, I went to go pick up a bunch of hellstone, crafted myself a hellstone pickaxe, got myself cobalt, then made myself a cobalt pickaxe, mined up a bunch of orichalcum, you know, orichalcum pickaxe, anvil, and then I went mining for titanium. During this time, I took mental note of where the underground corruption and the underground hallowed biomes were, which will come in useful later in order to help us craft all the summons for the bosses. By this point, I still only had meteorite armor, so I need to get more titanium to craft myself a full set. I went gliding through the Sky Islands to try to find myself a wyvern so I could take it out, gather all of the souls of light, and make myself a pair of wings. Doing this, we had actually died a couple of times, but at the end of it, I did manage to get myself enough souls of flight, and I crafted myself a pair of harpy wings. Then I went down to mine even more titanium, and once I came back to the surface, I was able to craft myself a full set of mage titanium armor. But we still had to go get a better weapon, as frankly, the little Knight's Edge knockoff belt that we have is not going to cut it for any mechanical boss that comes our way. So I went through all the various different crafting recipes and figured out that I want to craft myself the glaciated bell first, as it's probably the easiest one to craft out of all of them. All we had to do was get 10 souls of light, 10 souls of night, 100 ice blocks, and we were more than ready to craft that. So I went down to the underworld, got myself some souls of light, got the souls of night, and crafted the bell as soon as I came back to spawn. I got myself more of the various different souls, went to go get some bones so we can craft the summon for Skeletron Prime. Then, as I came back to spawn, I crafted the summon for all 3 mechanical bosses, made an infinite summon, and basically just waited for it to turn to nighttime. I also had a bunch of buffs in my disposal just to be 100% sure, and then I made the Brewer Lady fall in love with me. That's correct. Happy late Valentine's Day. Anyways, it turned to nighttime and I summoned in the Destroyer first. I buffed up and spammed him with the Glaciated Bell. It was kind of clutch just because of the low amount of defense that we had, but we managed to pull through and take out the Destroyer. And once we took out the Destroyer, we can finally use our Hallowed Bars to go ahead and craft ourselves this Hallowed Bell. Using this, we were able to take out the twins, which I summoned right after the Destroyer. And right after we took out the twins, I moved right onto Skeletron Prime, which we were also able to take out using the Hallowed nude bell. This was honestly very clutch because I wasn't sure we were going to take out Skeletron Prime before it's going to turn to daytime, so I'm pleasantly surprised. But anyways, now the jungle grows restless, meaning we can now go and fight Plantara. Well, Plantara, you know, the boss that never actually spawned, so we have to go make the summon for it. I made myself the pickaxe and then just went mining for chlorophyte to only find no chlorophyte whatsoever. I ended up going AFK for like an abysmal amount of time just to let the chlorophyte grow out, and then I went mining for chlorophyte again. I actually managed to find Plantara's bulb near the underworld, and this is where I crafted myself a full set of chlorophyte mage armor once I came back to spawn. And then I started working on crafting all the various different mage accessories that I could, such as the mana flower, these like mana handcuffs. Yeah, I kind of went all out on the accessories because the weapons in this mod were very underpowered. But yeah, once I came back to the jungle, I accidentally summoned in the queen bee a bunch of times. Like I literally summoned in 3 or something along those lines. And then I started digging out an arena for Plantara where the bulb was at the very bottom of the world near the hell biome. I put down a tiny platform, buffed up, and then summoned in Plantara. And then using the Excalibur, or what I previously had called the Hallowed Bell, we started spamming Plantara with our musical notes, and we managed to take out the pink boss herself, giving us access to Golem's dungeon. Upon entering the dungeon, I spammed him with the Hallowed Bell as well, because there wasn't really much upgrade path from here on out, except for past the Martian Madness event, which we still cannot access, so I just spammed Golem. I got myself the pickaxe axe on our very first try actually, and once I brought back his ultra to spawn, I spammed him even more. We got a bunch of beetle husks, we got tons of money, and then I went back over to the Sky Islands to actually get myself more souls of flight so we can craft ourselves a pair of beetle wings, as that's the best wings pre-moonlord. Correct me in the comments below, but I think those are the best set of wings pre-moonlord. Anyways, right after this, I used my battle cry within the dungeon to get myself tons of ectoplasm, and mixing with chlorophyte, I was able to craft myself full specter armor. I didn't get the regeneration one as it lacks defense, and I'd rather do more damage and have more defense than have any sort of regeneration, but yeah. Full armor set, I went to go fight the lunatic cultist, as he is now available to fight within the dungeon, and still using the Excalibur, we took out the lunatic cultist slowly but surely. This is kind of a bit of a pain and it was quite difficult, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, we took him out and started the lunar invasions, of course, as always being literally at the forefront of one of the pillars. I was barely able to escape and I made my way back home. I think this is the first playthrough in all of Terraria modded that I've done in a long time where I've actually stacked out all of my accessories. Like, look at my accessory slots. I have full specter armor, a sorcerer emblem, terra spark boots, like these 2 mage accessories that I still to this day have no idea what they are because I forget and never use them. Also have like that bee necklace, beetle wings, all of the good potions that we need for boss fights. Like, I'm pretty stacked, but we still need a better weapon as the Excalibur bell is not gonna take us through to the end of the game. Anyways, I went on to fight the Nebula pillar just because it was quite easy to do, and so I took that out while meanwhile getting into a fight with a giant wyvern in space, so that was not cool. Then I teleported over to the dungeon and started taking out the Stardust pillar, but I took a massive L and died. And because I needed money, I started work on the mechanical bosses again, so I just started fighting them over and over again. I took out the twins, then I came back to take out the Stardust pillar, kept on dying non-stop up until I actually took it out. I killed more wyverns because I was trying to find the Martian saucer, and since I couldn't find it, I just decided to buy it from the mutant, which sells all the various different events, so I summoned that in. At this point, I started taking out the Martian Madness event, and I was trying to get as many Martian blocks as I could because we needed that to craft the brand new bell. Once I got enough of the blocks, I went over to one of my workbenches, got myself all the required materials, and then using a bell from the wizard, 50 gold, 25 souls of light, 500 Martian bricks, and 15 souls of sight, I crafted myself the tubular bell. With the description reading, DM Dakuro called, he says you stole his instrument, and that is correct. Listen to what this plays. Anyways, once we crafted this, I went on to take out the Vortex pillar with some difficulty, of course, and after this, I defeated the Destroyer a little bit more to get more money, and I left the Solar pillar for last. I went to go take out the Solar pillar, and here spawns in the Moonlord. I buffed up, and he spawned in. I started work on both of his hands at first, and I managed to take out both of his hands, with his eyeball being left last. I started spamming his eyeball, and it was actually very difficult to hit his eye because like the bell didn't automatically hit the eyeball. I kind of had to like use momentum as the moonlord would move around too much. It was just a very hectic boss fight, and since I had no defense, I was cheesing the nurse, but as soon as I took out his eye, I ran out of money, meaning I couldn't cheese the nurse anymore, and I ended up dying. Needing more money, I farmed out the golem a bunch more times. I then farmed out the destroyer a bunch more times, and then I went to go fight the lunatic cultist because I sold all of my other fragments to craft the summon for the moonlord for some cheap crack on the streets. Don't do drugs, kids.
Stop it. Get some help.
Leaving us to our screen trembling again and having us fight the moonlord. This time I was prepared with tons and tons of money. So fast forward, I take out both of his hands. I then take out his eyeball, leaving his core left last. This is where we could deal some serious damage, as this time we kind of had like the maneuvers down. We knew exactly in which direction to run around in order to not miss his core, and cheesing the nurse, using everything I could with our underpowered weapon, we managed to take him out. And this was the Terraria Bell subclass. Hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. It's been Boyo. Peace out.